India is participating in the negotiations in Durban in a very hopeful and a very constructive spirit, as all of us are. We are fully behind our South African hosts and valued member of the BASIC group to ensure that the Durban COP becomes successful. It's very important. The most important issue for us in Durban is that a clear and ratifiable decision on the KP second commitment period takes place. This must happen if KP parties are really committed to addressing climate change. Developing countries should not be asked to make a payment every time an existing obligation becomes due on the part of developed countries. We have already walked the extra mile and in fact are doing far more than what many of our partners in the developed world are doing. As a basic country, India has engaged very constructively on the question of transparency agreements. We are making great advances in this regard. We are fulfilling our part of the obligations. And it's time that developed countries stepped up to fulfill their part of their commitment under the UNFCCC and the Kyoto Protocol. In these negotiations, some countries have projected the question of a legally binding agreement in future as a panacea for climate change. This question confuses implementation with ambition and is therefore not quite correct. There is an ambition gap because KP parties have not fulfilled their political obligations. There are more who are preparing to announce their intention to forsake international obligation. We need to ensure that the parties meet their commitments, whether under the convention or under KP. We must also not forget that for a very large number of poor in the world, in the developing world, the world has not changed at all. They continue to struggle with the challenge of eking out their livelihoods, meeting their basic needs, and cannot be expected to be legally bound to reduce emissions when they make no emissions at all. Eradication of their poverty and social and economic development is their primary goal. Development is the best healer for the environment. We should also not confuse the matter of review with the question of a legally binding agreement. Review of the long-term global goal does not imply a review of the convention. It should involve assessment of implementation gaps in achieving the ultimate objective of the convention, and we should therefore take stock of the performance of various groups of countries when the results of the fifth assessment period of the IPCC and review and assessments of developed country actions become available. India wants and is hopeful that the Green Climate Fund will be established at Durban. Developed country parties who have commitment to provide resources should agree to capitalize the fund and also to the structure of long-term sources of finance for the Green Climate Fund. India has proposed 3 agenda items for consideration by the COP at Durban to ensure that issues unresolved at Cancun are fully addressed in the negotiating process. These are issues of equity, unilateral actions, and technology-related ideas. In Cancun, these fell off the table. Equity is a fundamental issue in climate change. It deals not only with CBDR, but more importantly with equity in access to global atmospheric resources. The question of unilateral measures has come up as such measures violate the principles of CBDR. Recent announcements by EU to impose unilateral carbon tax on civil aviation and shipping emissions under their emission trading scheme is a clear reminder of such measures. These actions are disguised trade actions taken in the name of climate. And we need to work further in the area of IPRs as well to facilitate the goal of technology development and transfer at affordable costs. Finally, we have shown great flexibility in terms of choice of process and fora for addressing these issues. We have participated in the presidency consultations on the matter and are hopeful that the matter will be resolved. The issue should not be lost sight of and should be addressed by the COP or by a relevant body under the COP. We in BASIC are a part of the G77 and China and believe that we will strengthen the voice of developing countries by coordinating our position. Thank you.